Hello, welcome to POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone. The Warriors came in here at 29-5. We'd seen them once before this year. We were wondering if they were still that good. How hard were they rolling? And Jazz looked like they were playing with them. It was tied at 53 in the first half. The Warriors put on a little surge at the end of the first half. We were aware that all of a sudden the game was in the Warriors style. And then the third quarter came. And oh my goodness, that was something else.
I think what's amazing here is that the Jazz point of emphasis before the ball game was to try to control the pace of the basketball game, slow them down, make them play your pace. And it was like everything was going just fine. But the Golden State Warriors can turn it on when they get ready, and they pick it up. And as soon as they start knocking down a couple of threes, and I think that's when things start to roll for them.
They do. They just get a rhythm, and we saw it. Yeah. The Jazz allowed 41 points in the first 21 minutes of the game, and then they allowed 56 points in the next 15.
Yeah.
I mean, so they just got the rhythm, and all of a sudden, I remember in the closing parts of the first half, my call was, we're into a Warriors game all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It was going back and forth. It had this pace to it. And then it's just you're just on the wrong side of it, and it's it's as though you're on the wrong side of an avalanche. You cannot stop it. We don't have the capability yet to know how to stop it.
I think that's more so than anything, because they do have a few bread and butter plays that I think starts the ball rolling, that gets them going. A few backdoor plays, as you mentioned, was a big concern here tonight. And they did get a couple of those, but then soon as they start pushing the basketball ahead of the defense, they start knocking down the three-point shots. Hey, how about this? Draymond Green goes 3 for 4 from the three-point line. He is turning into a three-point shooter. I mean, obviously, the whole team can shoot threes for the most part, but they attempted 25. They made 13 for 52%. That's just Warrior basketball.
Well, and I love it. I mean, Steph takes 9 threes. Jazz did a pretty good job on Klay Thompson. I would actually say at shoot-around, there was a lot of focus on Klay Thompson. I think the Jazz did a pretty good job. Joe Ingles, surprisingly, you look at Joe, 6'8", Australian, and you figure to yourself, well, he'll have a defensive problem. He has yet to have a major defensive problem. He really is holding himself very well. I will say, as much as I'm going to walk out of this building talking about the Warriors, Ron, I'm walking out of this building talking about Derek Favors. I really think something's happened here. He has got 4 of his last 5 games. He has 20 points and 10 rebounds. That's big time. He did not have 20-10s with any regularity at any other point in his career, but tonight was different. Tonight was against Andrew Bogut, who's good, and an array of different moves that I've never seen from him.
He's playing like a man. He's playing like he's okay. Now I'm gonna turn it on, and he's starting to. What I noticed tonight was that how quickly he caught the basketball and did something with it. It was like he had a game plan. He stuck to it, and got the job done. And you mentioned, what is this? 2010.
4th and 5 games.
4th and 5 games for him. So he's really turning it on. I'm impressed with the Jazz there as well. They score 105 points. Now, supposedly this is supposed to be a pretty good defensive team. They shoot 48%. I think against any other team in the league right now, or any other team, the Western Conference, they would probably been right there giving themselves a chance to win.
This sounds weird, but the Warriors are beating people by an average of 11 points a game, and we lost by 11. It's frankly, for us to be average is good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're not trying to be much better than average. If we can be an average, middle-of-the-pack team, we were one of the worst teams in the league a year ago. That's really good for us to be average.
And I think that's why our level of play has picked up, because we've become more of an average team defensively. We're now in the middle of the pack as far as our defense is concerned, and that's giving us a chance to win basketball games. And, what else can you ask for?
Really impressive. I mean, when you talk about Derek going quickly also, Ron, it started with that jump shot, that mid-range shot that he's improved so much. And now teams are beginning to close on that. And what I'm seeing is he knows he was getting that wide open baseline shot a bunch of times. He caught the ball twice tonight, knowing that defender was too close for me to shoot. So now I'm going to go. We're seeing his 41%, now 42% mid-range shooting begin to develop other things for his game.
Yeah, and that's very impressive. And I mentioned that during the broadcast where he caught, and it was like he went right away. He got underneath Spate's arm, and he got the shoulder. And anytime a guy puts the ball on the floor driving to the basket, and he can get the shoulder inside, then you can get to the basket. You're either going to get fouled and score.
Let's go to Andy for a question. Andy's always good to us, brings the question. This is what you get when one team's healthy and ready to contend for a title and the other's dealing with injuries and learning how to compete. Is it safe to say Trey has turned the corner or too early?
I wouldn't say. I think Trey is playing much better. I think he's learning how to be a point guard. I'm gonna say probably just maybe a little bit too early.
Sure. But 5 games does not make a story. 5 game makes a trend.
Yes.
And the trend is good.
Yes, I agree. That's perfectly put.
And really what's good, he didn't do as much tonight. He's finishing at the rim. Coming in tonight, I didn't get into the broadcast. He was 9 of his last 11 in the restricted area.
And you heard Coach Snyder talk about him developing the little push shot in the paint, a la vintage Tony Parker, and some of the other little small point guards. He made reference to small point guards driving into the lane to give themselves a chance to score over bigger people. And he wants Trey to develop that shot. Trey was shooting it. Remember, he would get into the lane and he would shoot it rather than just a little soft push shot. And he hasn't developed that shot yet. He
made one or two tonight, actually.
Yes.
So
yeah, he did make one. Yes.
But you're right. It's a good point. And actually, the other thing that happened is we saw him practicing it. He brought it on the game. He missed about 8, 9, and 10 in a row, and he put it away. And now he's brought it back a little bit. So that's a good one to keep an eye on that Ron just mentioned right there. Andy, appreciate the question. Along the way, I think there's a whole element psychology. I could be wrong, but I've convinced myself this to be true. I think the strep throat game is going to turn out to be the key to Trey's season. That Dante got the start, was not good. Dante has clearly hit a rookie wall, and Trey, I think, is playing freer without the threat of this kid behind him. Yeah. And instead of, when he didn't start the year well, I think it built on itself, and he's kind of hit a reset button.
I agree, and he's making the team better because of that. If the Jazz, we don't know how many games the Jazz are going to win, but the progress that we're seeing, I think, is what we've been very pleased with because they have been fighters. They stay in the basketball games. They work very, very hard, make a lot of mistakes. Turnovers is going to be something that they're going to have to deal with and hopefully they get better at, mainly because, and let's use Houston as an example. A lot of guys with this offense touch the basketball. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of passing the basketball. And you're going to make some mistakes. You just have to eliminate those mistakes and give yourself a chance to score.
Rafael Gatto has got a question for us. Is it just me or does Curry disrespect the other team with all the laughing? It's a question.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
When Iguodala drives the basket and dunks him, Steph Curry's waving his towel all the way up in midcourt.
Yeah, that is, I'd say, a little disrespectful.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yes, very good.
I hadn't thought about it that way. We'll see how people think about it.